Unionists have bitterly attacked the Provisional IRA after they called on the so-called real IRA to disband and then said they would not be decommissioning their own weapons. However, relatives of IRA murder victims whose bodies have never been found gave a cautious welcome to the Provisional's assurance that they were trying to find their graves. This report from Ivan Little.
In an interview due for publication in Anfobla Republican News on Thursday, the day President Clinton arrives here, an IRA spokesman described the Omagh massacre as a disaster and a tragedy of enormous proportions, which he said had damaged the Republican struggle for Irish independence and unity. The spokesman said the suspension of violence announced by the so-called real IRA in the wake of the atrocity was insufficient, and he called on the dissident group to disband sooner rather than later. He said the IRA believed the Omagh bombing and other attacks in towns across the province were aimed at the peace process in general and Sinn Féin's strategy in particular. This morning, the Secretary of State welcomed the IRA call on the splinter group to disband.
I think that all they do to make sure that the real IRA disbands is crucial. We have very small splinter groups now that are creating the violence, that don't want to see the peace to work, and everything that the IRA can do to stop the real IRA, of course, is welcome. I don't want to see any more deaths take place, as no one in Northern Ireland does. And we have a chance now to build for a better future, and every step in that direction is a plus.
However, the DUP have angrily dismissed the provisional statement as a publicity stunt in advance of Bill Clinton's visit.
I think, like most people, I see the statement as sheer hypocrisy. Here we have an organisation claiming now to be purporting to be a good terrorist organisation, telling off what we now must assume is a bad terrorist organisation. I think that most people will take it with a huge pinch of salt. This is a media-contrived issue by Sinn Féin IRA, designed days before Bill Clinton arrives in Northern Ireland to take the spotlight and the pressure off Sinn Féin to decommission. And so they, in turn, put it onto the real IRA.
In the interview, the IRA spokesman reiterated the Provisional's refusal to decommission their armoury and sidestepped calls for a declaration that the war was over.
I must say, I can only look at this morning's statement as a very deep disappointment for the people of Northern Ireland, who are entitled to have peace, who are entitled to be told that the terrorist war is over and that the Republican leadership will implement its obligations under the agreement and not repudiate them the way this morning's statement does.
The Deputy First Minister, Seamus Mallon, hinted that he believed there could be more statements from the IRA.
Well, I believe that there is an attempt to deal with this matter. I hope it is a serious attempt. I know it will need to be a serious attempt. And if and when that happens, then I think we should be able to judge the full import of all of the statements that have been made on this issue.
In the Republican News interview, the IRA spokesman also addressed the issue of murder victims whose bodies had never been recovered. The spokesman said one of the Provisional's most senior officers had been appointed last autumn to locate the graves of the disappeared, but he added that the passage of time, changes in the IRA's leadership, and the deaths of IRA members had made the recoveries difficult. Seamus McHenry is the chairman of the organisation Families of the Disappeared.
Well, I think they are genuine now. They realise that it can't be pushed under the carpet any longer. You know, I'm not going to go away unless they desire that I'm put away, but they realise that if they're going to go up this democratic path, they can't take the dirty baggage with them. Things have to be sorted out. So I do believe they have set up a unit. Although in the past they've told me they had units that were looking into this anyway. So
Sinn Féin President Gerry Adams welcomed what he called the positive and helpful tone of the IRA interview. He said there was a collective responsibility on political leaders to match the public mood by working hard to quickly implement the provisions of the Good Friday Agreement. Ivan Little, UTV Live.